Howdy once again, it's Mr. Pete, and this is part 2 of my rainy day auction video. And in the first one I actually attended the auction and you saw some footage of that, but remember it was a real bad day. But this is right here the results of what I bought, most of what I bought that day. And this is going to be a very intense video where I basically go through virtually every tool, explain it, talk about it a little bit, so if that's too much for you, bounce around in this video to find a part maybe that you do like. But there are a lot of STARRETT tools here. I was really excited when I bought them in the rain. So check out that part 1 of this video and let's get started talking about these many precision tools. All these tools have been dried off. I'm going to take them down into the basement because it's getting cold out here. It's already the end of October, almost into November. So the purpose of this video is just to show you and talk about these tools. There's nothing terribly unique here, but there's a couple things that are worthy of note, and especially if you are a tool collector. I tried to lay these tools out in somewhat of an order here, although it still looks like a mess on the bench top. Remember, all of these tools were soaking wet when I brought them home, and you watched me dry them off with the help of my wife, oil them, and I do not think that they are any worse for the wear after that rough day. And down on the floor are 6 or 8 spanner wrenches. I know you guys in England say that's saying wrench, but in America we call these spanner wrenches. And these are the ones that I left in the car overnight. I forgot about them, and you can see the surface rust on them already. Let's start out with these little machinist clamps here. There's a pair of them, relatively small ones. I guess they're number 754D2. And there's a pair of them, brown and sharp, in nice shape, and alongside an odd ball about the same size, but this is a Woodworking. I wish I had the other one. I don't know if I missed it at the auction, but 3 nice machinist clamps. There's 3 feeler gauges, 2 STARRETT, and some oddball cheapie here from an auto store. Here is a folding Stanley ruler with the caliper end on it, boxwood, pretty old, fair condition at best, a little bit of warpage. There's the dividers, no name. Let's take a look at some of these calipers. Here's a STARRETT hermaphrodite caliper with the not quick adjustment, but the fine adjustment right there. Here's one I've never seen before. I've seen other brands, but this is a Stanley compass for a pencil. I do not believe it is all that old, but it's kind of nice, in perfect condition. There's a Craftsman calipers, a bit of corrosion on it. Lots more calipers here, inside calipers. There's I believe a STARRETT, a little bit smaller STARRETT in real nice shape. And then some outside calipers here. Again, that's a Craftsman. And I believe over here we've got a STARRETT, yeah, in about the same size. A very large inside-outside type caliper with the adjustment. I can't find the name on it. Kind of unusual. There's a Craftsman inside caliper, and what is this? Union tool, but in perfect condition, pretty nice. And a couple of dividers here. Believe it or not, that's a STARRETT. It looks kind of cheap, and so is this one, I believe, or is it brown and sharp? I can't quite read it at the moment. And one more wing caliper here made by Johnson. So there's quite a box of calipers, I guess you could say. Here are 3 STARRETT tool holders to hold indicators. I don't know why there's so many of them, but I do like the color case hardening. It's just beautiful. A Pexto rivet set, kind of beat up. You do not see those terribly often. Now here's a very weird calipers. I can find no name on it, and it's in metric, so it must be German. And it's not a vernier scale, but it's about 12 inches long. It looks like a combination calipers and depth gauge. And speaking of depth gauges, here is a little STARRETT depth gauge, but metric, beautifully case hardened with a, again, metric ruler that is satin chrome, but I only have half the box. What else we got here? That's off of an indicator. There's a lot of odd parts here, and I believe that this is off of a STARRETT or Brown & Sharpe height gauge. At least it looks like it. And this center head might be STARRETT, but it's missing the knurled knob, which makes it about useless. Oh, there's another one of those. I thought there were 4 of them. Maybe I need to step it up a little bit, but here's a set of number stamps. I believe they're the Young brand. They look in good condition. 3 hones, pocket hones. I think these are just giveaways, but they look unused. And I was glad to find these indicator tips. You saw me use a set of these very recently. Well, there's another set for STARRETT and a partial set. But in the same box was a bunch of these, and I don't know if they belong on these or not. They just look like oddball STARRETT parts. Not really sure. In this little box, it's called an end measuring rod, but I think it's just a 2-inch standard for checking micrometers. Blasphemy using a Chinese caliper to check a STARRETT, isn't it? You'll have to excuse that. Now, just recently, I got these things coming out of my ears, but here's a brand new. Remember when I bought this stuff at the auction, it was in groups. So you get what you get, what they're holding up. But this is a 3-inch STARRETT depth micrometer in the box, in real nice shape, and someplace along here is even the original cellophane. So there are a few tools here that are new or virtually new. And as long as I'm talking about this end rod, there's another one, and that's a 10-incher. I guess, again, they're just standards in the box, and yet another one in the 11-inch size. In good condition. I don't have any micrometers that large. This is a boring bar holder for a lathe. Would go in the tool, in the compound. It looks kind of like a knockoff of the Armstrong or Williams. Not knurled and not marked. I'm wondering if it's homemade, but if it is, it's a very nice job. Heavy duty. Looks to be about 2 inches in diameter. Well, here's some odd parts. I think they're STARRETT parts. I'm not sure what that is. Color case hardened. And there's a bunch of these. And I'm not sure if they're for indicators or height gauges. And these were in a bag all together, some kind of shoulder bolt. Anybody know what those are? And here's a very weird tool. It's unmarked. Well, I take it back. It is marked, but that doesn't tell me much. It looks precision. It looks very precision, and is tapered out here near the end. Anybody got a guess? I don't know whether to save it or scrap it. And this is weird. This is about 16 inches long. Center holes, no center hole there. It's got a center hole here, and we got all these different steps which are slightly different diameters. Like it's some kind of test bar. Again, I can't tell whether it's homemade or factory made. There's a nice Mitutoyo set of telescoping gauges, and I've had these all out and cleaned them and oiled them just in case there was any moisture on them. But they look in perfect shape, possibly unused. Never know for sure. And here is some kind of micrometer head in a case, not STARRETT, and I don't think it's all there. I think there should be rods or tubes, possibly, because it says automotive tools on here. So I'm thinking it's for a cylinder bore, but probably fairly useless. Most of you know I have a thing for STARRETT last word. Well, it doesn't have the label on it, does it? But there's a last word indicator in the box. Seems to work all right. And there were some other little parts in the box I do not think had anything to do with this. I'll talk about those in a minute. Some tiny little parts. But here is another last word in the case, but not everything is there. And when I looked at it, it does not work. No movement at all, so I will take this apart, see if I can do anything with it. I don't really want to throw it away, but maybe I should just put this one in this case and forget about this. What do you think? Alright, let me start working my way through these micrometers. There is a micrometer head. Pretty common item, but I've never seen one in the 2-inch size like this. I got it all the way open so you can see it has a range of 2 inches where normally they're just 1 inch. And that would be used in a jig or some other type of fixture that you make that needs a micrometer reading. And these just press in over this end right here. Kind of nice, but I'll probably never use it. In the box. Here's something very unique. At first I thought it was homemade because there are no maker's marks on here, and I think it's German silver, but it's a small metric micrometer, very, very old because the thread is exposed, but adjustable. So I think I'll put that in my curio case. Nicely made, I guess you could say. Look at those tiny little graduations there. Anybody know anything about this at all? Pretty interesting. Well, I don't do much large work, but I ended up with a, what is that, 7 to 8 inch, and it's a STARRETT, and I do not have any standards for that, but here's another 8 inch, and this is not STARRETT. That's kind of stiff, needs to be taken apart and cleaned. That's a Slocum, which they haven't made in many years, but kind of interesting. Anyway, let me go through the larger ones there first. This one is metric, and I believe made in Germany. You recognize this name? I do not. And it's 50 to 75 millimeter. But you know what's neat about this? If you look at the diameter here of the thimble, it's much larger in diameter than, say, this STARRETT. so it would be easier to read, and the larger the diameter, the greater the space between each graduation, which to me is a big plus. And this has a very unique spindle lock I've never seen before. It's a push business. So now it's loose, and push on that and it locks. And it's got ratchet as well. And I do not know if that alligator finish is supposed to be that way, or if the paint, well, we know it isn't, but it looks like, it's kind of, yeah, I like the finish. Looks like an alligator. Here is a older, oh, that's a Craftsman, 1 to 2 inch. Not bad. Here is a Woodworking 2 to 3, and it's kind of tight. I need to work with this. I do like Woodworkings very much. And another larger one here, also a Craftsman. And kind of stiff. Matter of fact, that needs some freeing up. Oh, there it goes. I haven't gotten around to oiling all of these yet, but that's a Craftsman. Now let's take a look at all of these 1-inchers here. There's a 1-inch STARRETT. Needs a little cleaning, obviously used, but it seems to be okay. And here's another one, but it's missing the lock, and I think missing the ratchet. I'm not too sure. I would have to declare this to be basically junk. There's another one. I haven't zeroed it out. STARRETT. I'm not sure if it's missing something here or if it's made that way. And a lot of these are marked with the owner's name, so these aren't real great micrometers by any means. There's a Woodworking. All right. I forgot that there was a Woodworking in here. I like that. If you do not have any Woodworkings, watch for them. They really are excellent, excellent tools. And then here is the type of STARRETT micrometer that I like to use in my videos, but it does not zero out. It feels a little clunky. Looks like it's had a little abuse or heavy use. And finally, or did I show this already? I think this is a Craftsman. Yeah, Craftsman, also a little bit tight and rough feeling. Now let's talk about these accessories that we got right here. This micrometer just came out of my toolbox. It did not come from the auction, but it is a thread micrometer. And I think you know that they have a pointed anvil there, or spindle, and then the anvil is a little V-way as well. So that's a dedicated micrometer, but look what came in this little Woodworking pack here. These are thread tips that would allow you to convert a Woodworking micrometer into a thread micrometer, and these all are within a range. That is, these tips would work with a thread pitch of anywhere between 8 and 13 threads per inch, and they look like this, and they slide over. Let's see if they fit. I'll fit them on there off camera and show you. Well, that's weird. Even though they are marked Woodworking, they do not fit on here. They're a different diameter. Perhaps they're for a 2-inch micrometer or something like that, or Woodworkings were made in different diameters. I really don't know. But also, this little tube here is marked Woodworking, and that's got another pair of them in there, but I just tried them and they do not fit either. So, in the same box there were some other tips. I'm not going to mess with them now, but there's a pointed one and a flat one, almost like they use for measuring paper. So that's a little bit strange, probably useless, but interesting. This is a very interesting STARRETT micrometer, and it's in the box, or half a box anyway, I think brand new. It's called a heavy duty. Where's the number here? I'm looking at the STARRETT. It's a number 238 heavy duty. Now notice how massive the frame is and the larger diameter here that I like compared to a regular common STARRETT 1-inch, and this is a 1-inch. Beautifully made, and I would say, I was going to weigh them, but I would say it's at least double. And I was wondering what the purpose is, but they said it's more accurate because it's so massive here and can take a little bit more abuse. And there's a complete catalog description. I think I'm going to show you that page in the catalog right now. I really like that. To me, that was almost like the buy of the day. And there it is in an older STARRETT catalog, and I'll put a still picture of this at the end of the video, including a blow-up right here of the description of this, because I paged through these catalogs a lot of times. I guess I never paid any attention to a heavy-duty outside micrometer available in imperial or metric. Okay, get a load of this precision boring head made by Infinity Ramsey tool. I'm not familiar with them at all. In a nice oak case, along with some documentation, not very much, but let's take a look at this. Okay, here's a common Criterion boring head that you are all familiar with, 3/4 shank, and here is the Infinity, also 3/4 shank. This must be a high dollar item. The nice dovetail. Holes for the boring bars. Isn't that a beauty? And in the box are a few tiny little boring bars still in the wax. And a couple adjustment tools here, and I'm not sure what this is. Oh, there's the micrometer dial. And boy, how in the heck does that... You know what? I think it's just held on there temporarily while you make your adjustment, and then it comes right back off. Naturally, you couldn't leave it on there. The diameter is quite large, which makes it easy to read. Wow. And the Allen wrench goes right through it. I've never seen one of those, have you? I hate to think what that costs. I'm going to estimate that that's... I'm going to say this is a $300 tool if you had to buy it. And the diameter right here, I'm going to take the time to do that. Measurement is basically 1 inch as opposed to the Criterion, wherever I put it. Where on earth did I put that Criterion? How could I lose something that quickly? Oh, it's way back here. Gee. So this is 2 inch. So it's a 1 inch compared to a 2 inch. So at that auction, I purchased a box full of Stanley planes. These are mainly number 45s, and here's a compass plane. And they're all in pieces, so I'm going to run a separate video for people that like woodworking planes where I'll put these together and talk about them a little bit, but it's not meant for you metal workers. So that's all I'm going to say about this, other than I got them all dried off. They didn't get too terribly wet at the auction, but if you're interested in that, watch for that video when it comes out. And let me finish this video by showing you the spanner wrenches again. I'm sorry to see that 4 of these are identical. And I probably already have some of those, so I don't know, I may pass those along. There's a nice one, again with the superficial rust, which I'm going to remove right now as soon as I finish this video. And I always like this face type of spanner, and I believe that's a major brand. I can't read it right now. Here's another one. This has been modified by Bubba. And that looks no name. And there's a pretty common Will. No, it's an Armstrong. You know what? I don't normally watch my own videos except to edit them and make sure that they're okay once they're up and launched on YouTube. However, I do enjoy looking at my old auction and sale videos. And I think you would enjoy looking at some of those again or for the first time because they're kind of timeless and there's a lot of them. I have a playlist on how to find them, so look in the description for a link to the playlist and peruse some of those. And some of those videos of auction were very widely watched by a lot of people, so check them out. Well, now the excitement is over. I've shown these tools. What do I do with them? Where do I put them? My toolboxes are overloaded. And does anyone really need 50 micrometers? Makes no sense, I know, but it's fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and liked looking at these tools with me. I have been going to a lot of auctions, so there's a bunch of videos on those auctions or sales. Usually there's 2 parts, so be sure and watch all parts. I do not launch them all on the same day, so sometime you have to search for them or check my video every day under the name Tubalcain if you do not get the notifications. Thank you very much for watching and supporting my channel, and I'll see you next time after the next great tool auction. Please don't take this video as a boasting or bragging session. I do not want people to be jealous or envious. This is just for the fun of it. This is informational and I hope entertaining. Let's get on with it.